guys, and welcome to the 19th episode of the Women in Nautica podcast. We're in the mid part of our Marina series, and I'm very excited because today on air with me, we have the special venue sustainer of this year's Women in Nautica conference. And with me is Paulina Ilić, the director of the Marina 21 group, which is now counting 4 marinas in Croatia on very distinct and special locations such as Novigrad, Pula, Trogir and Vela Luka on Korčula Island. Paulina, welcome.
Hello, Anna. Thank you for inviting me. It's a real pleasure to be here, and a big hello to everyone listening.
Thank you. And also hereby a very big gratitude to you for supporting our conference this year and joining as a sustainer. We're very happy also to welcome the team during this year's conference and happy to engage in all the exciting networking we will do, of course, apart from learning. And as a first question, so for the people who don't know you and maybe are not acknowledged with the chain of marinas which you're leading, can you tell us more a bit about your educational background and how it led you to your existing position?
To be honest, my education didn't actually lead me directly into the marina business. I entered this industry almost by chance back in 2006 when I started working on a new marina project. At the same time, I was studying at the university in Split, where I later completed my master's degree in economics. When I started working on the first marina project, I really knew nothing about marinas, permits, construction, or the nautical business in general. Everything was completely, but really completely new to me. I started more on administrative side, working with documentation and permits, but very quickly it became interesting. I became interested in the whole project and I wanted to understand how everything worked. I started reading laws and regulations, learning about the nautical industry, and spending time on the construction site and also talking to engineers and contractors. I was always very curious and asking lots of questions and trying to understand what they were doing and why. And I need to be honest and say that they really were willing to explain to me all of it. So in practice, I went through the whole process of developing a marina from planning and permits through construction all the way to opening and daily operations. And I found that whole process very interesting. And even today, development and construction projects are something I really enjoy. At the same time, I continued investing, of course, in my education. Over the years, I attended different professional courses and training programs related to the nautical industry and other areas of business connected to my work and responsibilities. I think that combination of education and practical experience has been very important throughout my career. My background in economics gave me a strong business and financial foundation, while working on real projects taught me about development, construction, and marina operations. As my experience grew, so did my responsibilities. So over the years, I became a marina director. And then in 2021, when EMA Capital entered the Croatian marina market, I took over the management role as the Marina Group started to grow. And today I'm president of the management board for marinas, as you said at the beginning. So when I look back, I think my career has really been a combination of formal education, continuous learning, and practice experience. And maybe most importantly, I was always willing to step into something new, to learn and to grow with every new challenge. I think that is something extremely important, to be open to new challenges.
Yeah, definitely. And as you mentioned, you went literally from the construction of the marina to the management. So you really witnessed all the steps there are from the beginning until the realization of the project. And you can, of course, influence future developments and innovation. So it's without saying that there is a big responsibility in handling a marina chain. What is the most difficult task you face on a daily basis, or let's say within a special season?
I think the most challenging part of my position is finding the right balance between all the different responsibilities that come with it. I am responsible for the business and the results we need to achieve for our owner, of course. But behind those results, there are more than 150 employees and their families. At the same time, we work with many business partners. We are part of the local communities where our marinas operate. And we have also responsibility towards the institutions we work with. And in the center of everything, of course, are our clients, because they are the reasons we are here in the first place. So all these relationships are connected, but the interests are not always the same. For me, the real challenge is to understand these different perspectives and find the right balance between them. And I consider achieving that balance to be really my personal responsibility. Of course, everyday business brings its own challenges and unexpected situations. That is simply part of this industry. But I think when you really love what you do, I think you approach those challenges differently. They don't necessarily become smaller, but somehow they become easier to handle, I would say. So for me, the most difficult part is not one particular task or particular problem. It is carrying all these different responsibilities, finding the right balance between them, and somehow making sure that in the long term we are building a successful and healthy business for everyone who's involved.
Understandable. And achieving balance is, I think, a very big issue, but also opportunity in different business types. And as you said, you have different stakeholders around you, from clients to employees to institutions. Do you think these stakeholders understand the position you're in, that you really need to work a lot to find a certain balance that maybe at the time being won't be favorable for one stakeholder, but more favorable for another one? Do you think you get the understanding in your position when it comes to that?
I definitely do. I need to be honest to say that I really have an excellent communication with our owners, and they are not looking just us, let's say, as a business and as investment. They are trying to understand what we are doing, and we definitely have their support and understanding in each situation.
That's great to hear. And when it comes to additional services in the marina, which do you see as non-negotiables for a successful marina chain? So what makes you stand out?
It's always, from me, let's say from the beginning, safety and quality. A marina has to provide a safe berth, reliable infrastructure, and a professional service. The client is leaving a very valuable boat in our care, and sometimes for most of the year, so trust is extremely important. But I think that expectations of our clients have changed over the years. Today, marina is much more than a place where you keep your boat. Clients expect everything to work well and to be simple. They like simple things. They expect us to be available when they need us, to react quickly, to help organize, for example, maintenance or repairs when necessary, and generally to make their boating experience easier. At the same time, they are looking for more than the basic marina services. They want to enjoy the time they spend in the marina as well. For example, restaurant, hotel, wellness shops, or other facilities can all become part of the overall experience. And then there is one thing I would like to point out, and I think it is extremely important everywhere: people. Our employees are the connection between the marina and the client. With our regular clients, these relationships are often built over many years. Our employees know them by name, they know their boats, they understand their habits, expectations. So I think that personal approach is becoming even more valuable today. I don't believe there is one perfect list of services that every marina must have. For me, that is non-negotiable, is definitely safety, quality, good people, and ability to understand what really our clients need.
So, as in many different businesses, the communication is key and to really establish this personal approach. So, you think that even though the expectations, wishes, and needs of your clients have changed, the personal communication, and that may be the fact that somebody who works as a seafarer in the marina knows what type of boat a client has and what they prefer to do on the weekends, you still think that this is one of the key parts that holds the whole piece together?
I would say yes, because we can have a beautiful marina with great infrastructure, and if you don't have employees and the people who are on spot who will communicate with the clients and give them the feeling when they come that they are at home, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I can definitely resonate with that because they do come to a foreign country and they do have a more or less expensive vessel in the marina. So, yes, do expect to get in return what they paid for. But
Yeah.
of course, I think that they also, if they leave their boat with you, they also align a bit with your strategy, your vision. They like, let's say, the general aura of the marina. So when we're looking at that a bit more long term, how did you align the strategy between different marinas in your chain?
For us, aligning the strategy did not mean making all our marinas the same. Some of our marinas have, for example, hotels, some don't. Some have their own service and repair facilities, while others have a different business model. They are also in different locations with different types of clients and different local markets. So we wanted to create a common direction and use the advantages of being part of the larger group while keeping the individual character of each marina. At the group level, we centralize the areas where we believe it makes sense. Top management, finance, marketing, IT sector, for example. We also introduced common procedures across the group. We use the same, for example, approach with some documentations, internal rules, bird contracts, and things like that. But at the same time, everyday operations remain local. Our marina managers know their locations, their clients, and their teams on spot. And they have the freedom to manage their daily business.
And is there a special strategy for future development? So, of course, it needs to be unified at a certain level, but what's in stake for the future?
I would say that our first priority is to continue investing in the marinas, which we already have. It is about improving services, developing our teams, and following changes in the market. Growth is not only about the number of marinas. If we can become bigger without losing the quality and the personal approach and identity of our individual marinas, then I think we are doing it in the right way. At the same time, of course, we are always looking for new opportunities if there is a marina or a project that fits our strategy and where we believe we can create additional value. Of course, we are interested. So I would say our strategy is quite simple. We wish to improve what we have, keep the individual identity of each marina, use the strength of the group, and stay open to good opportunities for further growth.
And it's great that you mentioned looking into other marinas because we as Croatia do have a significant number of marinas on the coastline. So do other Mediterranean countries, more or less. But where do you see international expansion on the Adriatic take place? So do you see maybe more development in Montenegro or Albania? And what do you think are the best advantages we have along our coastline?
There is definitely an ambition for further growth within our group. If you are speaking about Marina 21, we started by building a strong position in Croatia, and the next step has already been made with the expansion into Greece, where the group now has two marinas. One is already operating and one is in construction phase. Greece is, of course, different from Croatia. The market is different, the regulations are different. At the end, the way of doing business can be different. We need to understand the local market first and then use the experience and strength of the group to develop the business. So, yes, there's definitely desire for further expansion. I think it is about growing in the right location at the right time and making sure that every new marina makes the whole group stronger. So, yes, we are going in the direction of expansion. And regarding our coastline, I think Croatia has a very strong position in the international nautical market. Our biggest advantage definitely is our coastline. We have more than 1,000 islands, clear sea, and a wide range of destinations within relatively short sailing distance. I think this is quite unique. You don't need to travel very far to find a completely different place and a different experience. But I don't think it is only about natural beauty. We have really beautiful historical towns, good food, local culture, and a high level of safety. And all of this is part of the nautical experience. I also believe we still have room for further development. There are locations where new marina capacity could be developed, but at the same time, we need to continue investing in the marinas we already have. Like I mentioned also before, the market is changing as well. Boats are becoming bigger, so the structure of boats and berths are not anymore the same, and they're changing during the years. And definitely the berths and the infrastructure needs to follow that change. And I think we definitely need to pay even more attention to sustainability and the protection of the sea. Our entire industry depends on the sea and the coastline, so we really have a responsibility to protect what is actually our greatest advantage. We have something really special in Croatia, and the challenge for the future is to continue developing it without losing what makes it special in the first place. I would say that way.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that because I was about to follow up with that question because yes, RC is the main advantage, but we do need to take care of it. And it's not only about educating our boaters about their practices, but also what we have to offer in terms of sustainable infrastructure, sustainable vessels, and other correlating sustainable services. So, is there maybe an innovation or an avenue in sustainable marina infrastructure, or at least some types of services or digital apps that you would like to mention that you think are relevant for this?
Considering that most of our marinas are existing and already have their own infrastructure, in some position it's quite hard to do the changes and maybe put some new equipment or things like that. But I definitely think that we need to use more natural sources for at least energy or double use of water or do the savings and some protection of environment in each position where we can do it. Also by using different types of, let's say, apps, we can save the paper, we can do small things, but in total they will make a big difference in some moment.
Yeah, I agree. It's difficult for one single individual to make a difference or one single company, but if it's more of us doing daily small efforts, then that works. And if we're moving a step back towards your marina chain and a bit about your structure, what would you mention are the biggest differences between a chain that is privately owned and one managed by a financial institution, which is your case?
I don't think the difference is simply between a private owner and, let's say, a financial institution or investment fund. Not all private owners are the same, and not all investment funds are the same either. I have been very fortunate in my career because I have had very good experience with both. So if I look at the difference from my position as manager, I would say that one of the main differences is in the way we communicate. With the private owner, communication is more direct and informal. And with an investment fund, the communication is naturally more structured, mainly through regular meetings and reporting. But when it comes to actual managing the business, I would say that has been no big difference. In both cases, I was given high level of trust and freedom to do my job, and with that freedom, of course, comes responsibility. Private owners are often seen as being more personally involved in the business. They are close to it, they follow it on a daily basis, what is happening, and they want to be involved. With an investment fund, you might expect a different approach, perhaps more focused on the investment itself and on the numbers. But that has not been my experience. When our owners and capital entered the marina business, they really wanted to understand it. They wanted to understand how marinas operate, what makes the industry specific, and what the business really needs. They don't look at the marinas only as an investment, and for me, that is extremely important. Of course, numbers are matter and they matter in every business, but there is also an understanding of the business behind those numbers, and I think that makes a big difference. In the end, for me, it all comes down to trust between owner and management. My team and I manage these marinas with the same care and responsibility as if they were our own. And I believe our owner recognized that, and that gives us the trust and freedom and support we need to do our job. So after working with both private owner and investment fund, I wouldn't say that one model is better than the other. For me, it is much more about the people on both sides, their approach to the business, mutual trust, and a common goal. And I think if you have that, both models can work extremely well.
Yeah, I agree. And that's very well said. And you put everything into one, let's say, under one umbrella, from understanding the industry to communication and in general management and finance. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you for your answer on this. And now we're going to switch a bit on your personal life. And I have to ask you, are you a boater yourself? And if so, what is your favorite destination?
Ha! Even after 20 years working in marinas, I wouldn't really describe myself as a boater. It can be surprising, maybe it is, maybe it's not. I do go sailing occasionally with family and friends, and I really enjoy spending time on a boat and being at sea. But I don't actually operate boat myself. I just prefer someone else to be responsible for getting us safety to the destination. So
No, that's perfectly
I'm not
understandable.
operating, I'm not operating myself. And regarding the favorite destination, I really can't choose just one. I think that every part of Croatian coast has its own character and something special. But maybe I can say that the islands which are far away from land have some special charm for me. So maybe it's just being far away from everyday life or surrounded by sea that gives me peace. So I would say, let's say, islands which are far, far away from the land. But who knows? Maybe one day I will become a real boater myself when the time comes. But for now, I think I'm still better at managing marinas than sailing into them. Definitely, it's much
For
safe for all of us.
for now, you already have too much responsibility handling a marina chain, and I don't think you need any more stress with boating. So if you hire a skipper or you have somebody else driving the boat for you, I think it's perfectly fine.
I agree on that.
And as we're slowly wrapping up this episode, I have one last question to ask you, and that is if you can share a piece of advice for young women or in general professionals entering the recreational marine industry, what would you tell them for a heads up?
When I entered this industry, I was 25 years old. I was young. I knew really nothing about marinas and nautical business. I was curious. I wanted to learn. I wasn't afraid of something just because it was new to me. Looking back, I think that attitude has been very important throughout my career. Being willing to learn and accept new challenges, even when you don't know exactly where they will take you, is what keeps you moving forward. As when you grow in your career, I think it is important to find your own voice. You have to be able to say what you think, stand behind your opinion, your decisions, and most importantly, take responsibility for them. For me, that is how you build respect from your colleagues, your partners, team, owner, at the end from your clients. And once you look at it that way, I really don't think gender matters. I know marina industry is traditionally seen as a male industry, but I have never looked at my career from that perspective. I think that the good manager is a good manager, regardless of whether that person is a man or a woman. What matters is how you work, how you treat people, and whether you are ready to take responsibility.
Yeah.
But there is one thing that I think it is also extremely important, the people around you. No matter how ambitious or capable you are, you don't build a career by yourself. When I look at where I am today, I know that I didn't get here alone. And I'm really grateful to all the people who have been part of my journey and to those who are still walking it with me today. So I think that is really extremely important.
And
But if I, sorry.
no, no, go ahead.
So, but if I could say, let's say, some short version of all of this, I would say that and give them a message to be curious. Don't be afraid of unknown. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. We all make mistakes, but you need to learn something from them and make some conclusions from those mistakes. Have the courage to follow your own path and definitely value the people you meet along the way.
I love that. And I wanted to say before that it's very inspirational to hear that you still have people who were at the beginning of your journey and that they're still now with you today when you're in a very, very successful position. And that's very nice to hear that some people might change along the way, but that there are some key people who are there with you from the start. And with that, we're going to wrap up our episode for today. Thank you so much for your contribution and all the answers. And for everyone listening, I believe you can find Paulina on LinkedIn. And if not, you can check out everything regarding the marina on their website. Just Google Marina 21 and you will find everything about the group, also their locations, and more about the newest Marina Polezana, which also, as I saw, offers some very nice berth options in case you're looking for a cool position where to relocate your vessel. And I'm not saying that because I'm based in Pula, I'm saying it's very nice. And I saw it myself. And thank you once again for sustaining women in Nautica 2026. For everyone else listening, stay tuned for the conference updates on the program and the website and our social media. And Paulina, thank you once again for tuning in and stay tuned for the next episode. Bye.
Joanna, thank you also for your conversation. And I really hope that sharing my experience will help or inspire maybe someone who is listening to take a chance and maybe even start a career in the marine industry. And if that happens, I think this conversation was definitely worth having. Thank you once again, and all the best to everyone listening.
No, thank you. And until the next one. Bye.
Bye. Bye bye.